We'll call the City Council adjourned meeting for Monday, October 15th, 2007 to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, Tracy, please.
Arbogast.
Here.
Garnos.
Here.
Gisselbeck.
Here.
Heller.
Here.
Meisenheimer.
Here.
Solberg. Solem. Walder.
Here.
Wilkins. And York.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Before we begin our council meeting, I want to welcome Dennis Gall's government class again. We get to see them just about on a regular basis, so welcome to our council meeting. Agenda item number 1 is approval of the minutes of the City Council meeting held October 1, 2007. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Heller. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Alderman Meisenheimer. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 2 is a special assessment roll for weed cutting, and we'll begin with the public hearing. And Tracy, I'll let you begin.
Okay, this is kind of an annual process we go through when we get to the end of the mowing season. These are properties where the street department has been called on to mow private property to control weeds, and we bill them, property owners, on a regular basis as that occurs. And these folks have not paid their accounts in full, and as we do each year, those accounts that are not paid by the end of the season, then we put on an assessment roll, and it's assessed and then billed along with the property owner's taxes by the county.
Very good. Is there anyone here to speak to the issue in the audience? If not, then I'll close the public hearing and ask for council action. Is there a motion to approve the special assessment roll for weed cutting?
So move.
So moved by Alderwoman Walder. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Heller. Any discussion, questions?
Yeah, I
Yes.
have one. Tracy, is this prorated over several years, or is this how?
These are all from this summer.
But I mean, added to the taxes and that, is that added this year, so they have to pay it this year with the tax?
That's
lien?
it'll have to be paid during next calendar year.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 3 is a location change for a liquor license as consideration of the transfer of an alcoholic beverage license from TKC Incorporated, doing business as Joker's Casino at 27 9th Avenue Southeast, to TKC Incorporated, doing business as Joker's Casino, to 916 and a half 9th Avenue Southeast. We'll begin with the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to the issue? If not, I'll close the public hearing and go to council action. Is there a motion then to approve this transfer of location?
Motion to approve the transfer.
Motion by Alderwoman York. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Solberg. Any discussion or questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 4 is consideration of the transfer of an alcoholic beverage license from John DeWall, which is inactive, at 1311 First Avenue Southwest, to JJ&K Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Classic Casino, to 27 9th Avenue Southeast. And we'll begin with the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to that issue? And again, all items are in order in that. Tracy, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Then we'll close the public hearing and ask for council action for the transfer. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Solberg. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Garnos. Any discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 5 has been withdrawn. Agenda item number 6 is the rezoning of Lot 20, Andrews Industrial Edition, ordinance number 07-28. Rick, you'll take us through that, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and if you would, I can, first of all, I'll read the ordinance title. Ordinance 0728 is an ordinance amending zoning district boundaries by rezoning Lot 20, Andrews Industrial Edition from I-1 Light Industrial District to C3 Highway Commercial District. If you would open the public hearing, Mayor.
Before I open the public hearing, I want to turn the mic over then to Alderman John Solom.
I'm going to recuse myself from this item for my company has a business interest in this.
Okay, very good, John. We'll let you be excused then. I'll open it up to a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to the issue? Rick, I'll let you go first.
This petition was submitted to you by Bruce Narrison representing Daylight Investments LLC, doing business as Wheel City Auto. Consultants on the project that we've been dealing with include Scott Engineering, Mr. Steve Solon with that firm, and a realtor, Gary Helland. This was taken up by the Plan Commission on September 20th. Of course, we've had our first reading of this item October 1st of just this year. We're here, a couple things. We've just accomplished the second reading. What we need to do is the public hearing and take the council action in on the rezoning to put it in force effect. Just the vicinity map, you can see on the screen right now, you can see the cursor moving left and slowly to the right, representing US Highway 212. This intersection right now where the cursor, the hand-shaped cursor, is the intersection with 26th Street East. Some of our local businesses that we might recognize in this area. Lot 1 of Endry's second edition is a location of Culver's. We have over here now located Applebee's, and in this area we'll see the future site of Wheel City Motors, and we probably see the sign there already indicating that that is their future home. Wheel City Auto owns lot 20 in the south, 52 feet of lot 19, all within Endry's Industrial Edition. The south 52.64 feet of lot 19 is already zoned is already zoned C3. Given the intended use and the proposed uses from Wheel City Motors, they have requested this rezoning from I1 to C3. Kind of makes sense from that perspective. They're looking at auto sales office, which certainly fits the C3 classification and zoning district. The rezoning request, in our opinion, is consistent with the comprehensive land use plan, and your staff recommends approval of the rezoning, subject to some replatting activities that we'll talk about only very briefly. Involve several landowners, and that's why it's a little bit complicated, but only to mention this does in fact bring with it the Planning Commission's recommendation for rezoning to C3 highway commercial. And although in their recommendation in their resolution 2007-52, though not a prerequisite to the rezoning, they advised the city council that is the Plan Commission's desire, and they suggest that you might want to consider requiring the petitioner to replat lot 20 of Endry's Industrial Edition in the south 52.64 feet of lot 19th of Endry's Industrial Edition. That is the Wheel City property. Also, there's a lot of developers that we're working with in addition to the Wheel City folks, Mr. Bob Endry's to the south, and the Applebee's Corporation, or Todd Porter to the north. It seems like an appropriate time, and we've been working with all developers, and we've had pretty good success rate actually in dealing with the developers, and we look forward to completing those, though not yet complete. But again, the Plan Commission says, you know, it's time we do wrap this up. So hopefully you understand the efforts that we are making to work with the developers in that area to get things replatted and so that the plat lines follow the property lines and to get things cleaned up. Especially of importance to us is the access, which will become 10th Avenue. Right now it is a private easement that has been issued from Bob Endry's to the Walmart Corporation. We see the need there to go and to name that a public right-of-way. So that's one of the things that we're very hopeful that we'll be able to accomplish. We've also made some commitments in good faith at the staff level, issuing building permits to Wheel City Motors and issuing permits for the sign, which really we did that in anticipation of the platting that's going to occur and the commitments that we have from the landowners in that regard in terms of replatting and the dedication of public right-of-way. Again, that would be really the only comments I would have, and just mirror the Plan Commission's recommendation to approve the rezoning to C3.
Thank you, Rick. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the issue? If not, then I'll close the public hearing and go to council action, requesting a motion for approval of ordinance number 07-28. So moved by Alderman Gizelbeck. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman York. Any questions or discussion?
If I might,
Yes.
I think Todd revised the ordinance that was in the packet and handed that out prior to the meeting. The only change, we struck that last paragraph. And that's what I just wanted to put forth to you, that the ordinance in your packet suggests a very strong stance of this council. That was not the strong stance that the Plan Commission recommended, but they just wanted you to be aware of and consider how strong a stance you wanted to take in terms of the requirements for replatting. The revised ordinance that you have in front of you does not contemplate a contingency or a condition on the rezoning. It's merely a recommendation for the rezoning.
Stanton, is that okay?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, very good. Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item, let's see, John, you can come back and join us. Thank you.
So, Mayor,
Yes.
if I might, before we get to that, Rick, out there on that Wheel City lot, they put a manufactured housing building up there. Is that,
That's
does
temporary
that
only.
conform, temporary only?
Temporary only.
That's good
yeah.
news.
Okay, yep, thank you.
I was gonna ask the same question.
Yeah,
Okay.
temporary only.
Okay,
I know the issue is passed already, but I have a question as well. When you what they've put on there already, meet with the zoning requirements of both what it has been and what it's going to be?
We issued a building permit there, in terms of the parking lot and the paved parking lot. The pavement, I guess, is not really the issue, the land use in that portion of the west portion that was paved. You probably see some construction on the east portion, including the signs on both lots, actually, and the foundation. And then we've also issued permits in good faith, again, assuming that this was all gonna happen, that will move forward with the C3 use. It's intended to be office space and retail space in conjunction with.
Not implying that this is not in good faith, but is the staff prepared then to follow up to make sure that the good faith promises are fulfilled?
Yes, we are. Yep, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been working with, the plating is a real issue there, and the land use is gonna fit, assuming that this council takes the action that's been recommended by staff and the commission, which you have. So the uses for which we issued the building permit are consistent with the C3 uses. We continue at staff level to work with the 3 developers involved to try to get this plating redone.
Is there any requirement how long that, what did you call it, George?
Temporary building.
Temporary building was gonna be there?
Well, we see that as, once the permanent structure on the east portion of their property is completed, they will move their sales offices into a portion of that building at
And
that
that's
point.
anticipated when?
I do not know the answer in terms of the completion date of their new structure.
I would tell you it'd be springtime before it'd probably be gone completely. I think it'll take them that long to complete the construction. They've got their foundation in, which was their real goal for wanting to move ahead and getting some sort of permit, even though the zoning wasn't in place, or they would have lost the construction season.
and we accommodated them with that too. Is that correct, Herb?
Again, we accommodated this whole transaction in good faith that the things that have been promised will occur.
Very good.
We certainly hope everyone understands the reasons why the staff took the steps we did. I mean, they got money laid out and
Yes.
cars purchased and, ready to move and implement their business there. And on a temporary basis, I guess it made sense.
Yes.
From our standpoint, to allow that structure only on a temporary basis while they build their real building.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Rick. Agenda item number 7 is the Conrady addition, lots 17 through 25, block 17, and lots 1 through 8, block 18. Rick, you'll lead us through the annexation and so other things?
Yeah, we've got a few items to take care of there, and how we place them on the agenda kind of makes sense, but how we might get through this discussion might follow, if you'll allow me that liberty, to follow just a slightly different course. What I'd like to do is, first of all, read the title for the second time of the ordinance, Mayor. Does that meet your approval?
That's correct, okay?
Ordinance 0729 is an ordinance amending zoning district boundaries by zoning real property in the plat of lots 17 through 25, block 17, and lots 1 through 8, block 18, Conrady addition. And Mayor, now if you would assist me in this whole process by opening the public hearing, because a lot of things I'll talk about in the annexation will be pertinent and relevant in the zoning discussion, so no sense in going through that twice, if you would.
Okay, we'll begin the public hearing on ordinance number 07-29. Rick, I'll let you speak first.
Thank you, Mayor. And first I'll bring up a different map so we can acquaint ourselves as to its location. Okay, on the screen right now, you see the pointer is located at the intersection of 14th Avenue North and 19th Street East. You'll recognize that the extent of development that has occurred in the Conrady addition, which is more or less on the left 2/3 of this photograph. Eastwood's addition is on the right 1/3, of course, on the east side of 19th Street. The area that Todd has included with some color there, the red line indicates where the current city limits are located, and you'll notice that the zoning adjacent in the existing Conrady addition is zoned R1. It's the existing R1 single-family zoning district. What is being suggested is annexation of this property, including the public rights-of-way for 14th Avenue North and 19th Street East. We will also include the full rights-of-way in conjunction with, that's what we hear the county would like us to do in the township. It seems to make sense to clarify those enforcement and responsibility issues. In terms of the proposed zoning, what we're looking for here, if I might, I'm going to bring up a different map. You can see in lot 7 and 8, the proposal is to go to C2, which is local commercial zoning district. Lots 1, and you can see the hand moving through lot 6, proposal for R2, single family attached residential. Also included in that R2 zoning designation is the lot 17 of this block 17. And also I'll move kind of quickly up Washington Drive up to lot 25. It's been proposed that that zoning be established as R2, single family residential attached as well. The remainder of these lots, lots 24 on down to lot 18, are recommended and proposed for single family residential. Seems to make sense to go from the existing R1, pretty good transition zones, and the need for these nodal type commercial zones in 7 and 8. So with that, in terms of the annexation, in their resolution 07-54, the Plan Commission recommends that the property be annexed with no zoning designation until we take the action that we will here shortly with the public hearing to establish that zoning designation. And they have recommended again that the adjacent rights of ways be annexed contemporaneously with this property, and that replatting or platting of the ground that we're talking about here occur within 1 year, and that's something that we'll talk about yet this evening. So with that, I would recommend and ask for your action to annex the property so designated here.
So you got me confused here. We're having a
Okay.
public hearing on the establishing the zoning designation, Rick? And you just said annexation?
If we could, if you wanted to close the public hearing, we could close, I'm sorry, and that would be appropriate, Mayor, you're right.
Right, we need to close the
We
public
should,
hearing. Okay,
on the zoning, then take the 3 actions. You're
exactly,
right. Yep.
okay, very good.
I'll step away in case someone has some testimony.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak to the issue? If not, then I'll close the public hearing and request council action on ordinance number 07-29. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance of 07-29? So moved by Alderman Solberg. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Alderwoman York. Any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we'll go to the annexation resolution 07-52, Rick?
Yes, a very simple request
Right.
and recommendation there, just the plating within 1 year that we've talked about, and that's already in the works.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion then for the approval of the annexation resolution number 07-52? So moved by Alderman Heller, seconded by Alderman Garnos. Any further discussion or questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the plat approval, resolution 07-53. Rick?
If I might, there's a few things. The plat is in accordance with the preliminary plan as we know it today that's been approved by the Plan Commission. Just a few things that we ought to talk about so that you're aware of what's in the letter of assurance. You know, in terms of plat approval, that is a 2-step process. I want you to know what is in the letter of assurance that has not been provided to you, so I'll summarize it very quickly. We have the standard language for the installation of necessary sewer, water, gas, and electric. Of course, the Washington Street that you see here will be constructed to the standard of a local residential street, which is the 38 feet face of curb to face of curb. We have plans for that already. They will install the sanitary sewer included, which is a couple things that are kind of unique in the letter of assurance. They are the owner, Roger Conradi, on behalf of the Mary Conradi estate, is reaffirming the commitment that she made back in 1997 in paying their pro rata share of an 8-foot wide paved asphalt lane, the full length of 14th Avenue North from 11th Street to 19th Street. So they're reaffirming that. They're actually going to pay the city for that because we've installed it, and it's just under the value of that has been established by our engineering department in conjunction with Roger Conradi's engineering firm at just under $17,000. The sidewalks along 14th Avenue North, Mr. Conradi is committed to building the ones adjacent to those properties that are already developed as well, and then the properties in this plat will be the responsibility that will be passed on to the ultimate and subsequent owners of the properties here in this plat. There will be something kind of unique. The drainage is very tricky in this area. They are going to construct a drainage swale in this location. Just so you know, I wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of that. And to keep that dry, it's going to be relatively flat, it's going to be vegetated, and it's going to have an under-drain system, which is something that's kind of a unique design characteristic for us in Watertown.
Who's going to maintain that?
The maintenance of the pipe, I would guess, I'm guessing, I don't know the exact answer to that. The under-drain system is probably the responsibility, because it is an infrastructure, will be the city of Watertown. The maintenance in terms of this grassed swale will fall back onto the adjacent property owners to maintain that as a mowed grassed swale.
That was one of the things we were quite concerned about.
Yes.
Okay.
We have drainage plans in-house. We have our utility plans in the street design. We've got an erosion sediment control that is 95% there. We're just waiting for a response from the consultant, but we are in agreement in concept what's going on there. The other document that we will be getting is an access agreement. We have, again, agreement in concept. The residential lots, 1 through 6 and 17 through 25 will all access onto Washington Drive. The access for lots 7 and 8 in that commercial setting will share a common access that will access onto 14th Avenue North. So you'll see there is no accesses onto 19th Street. I guess that would conclude my comments there, and request that you confirm and affirm the letter of assurance that is already signed by the applicant, and then the other action would be to approve the plat.
Okay, asking for plat approval of resolution number 07-53. Is there a motion? So moved by Alderman Heller. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Solberg. Any additional questions? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I believe that covers all of it then, Rick.
I believe it does. I'm assuming the motion confirmed and affirmed where we're at with the letter of assurance and allowing you to sign it on behalf of the city.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And this has been a pretty big deal, and I think you've put a lot of time and effort into it, and we appreciate it, and I think everything is going to be pretty neat out there.
Yeah, it's
So,
a nice development,
Yep,
isn't it?
it's
Really
going
is. The
to be a
developer's
great
done a wonderful
development.
job, so.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rick. Agenda item number 8 is proposed lease of city-owned land located in the Endries Industrial Park in Endries 3rd Edition. We'll begin with the public hearing, and Stan, I'll let you begin.
Thank you, Mayor. As the council knows, anytime the city, under state law, intends to lease any of its property for more than 120 days and for more than $500, we're required to hold a public hearing, so that's what we're doing tonight. As you recall, the undeveloped land in the Endries Industrial Park is just that. It's basically tillable farmland, and at your direction, I presented a proposed lease to Bob Endries for it's about 39.5 acres of undeveloped cropland. And the lease that's before you tonight is a 2-year lease for growing seasons 2008 and 2009. For 2008, the proposed lease rate is $85 per acre, or a fee of $2,975, and for growing season 2009, the proposed rate is $90 an acre, which will result in a lease payment of $3,555. And I have received the lease signed by Bob back, and so tonight I'd ask your authority for the mayor and finance officer to fully execute the lease.
Thank you, Stan. Is there anyone else here to speak to this issue? If not, then I'll close the public hearing and request council action to approve the lease. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Giselbeck. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Alderwoman Arbogast. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Stanton. Agenda item number 9 is the creation of a tax increment financing district number 6, resolution 07-55. Stanton?
Thank you, Mayor. This district probably looks somewhat familiar in that you recall at your October 1st meeting, we dissolved tax incremental district number 4, and I told you that we'd be coming back before you. And then subsequent to the dissolution of 4, the district boundaries that are up on the screen were created, and the Plan Commission at their October 3rd meeting recommended the creation of tax incremental district number 6 with those proposed boundaries. So tonight, I would recommend that you adopt resolution 0755, which is going to establish tax incremental district number 6 and those boundaries.
Thank you, Stan. Is there a motion then for the approval of resolution 07-55? Motion by Alderman Garnos, seconded by Alderman Meisenheimer. Any additional questions or discussion?
Does that also take in the road then going down there too?
It will, all the way down to 212, yes.
Thank you. Hearing none, then all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you again, Stan. Agenda item number 10 is the First Avenue North Extension Project financing matters. Tracy, I'll let you lead us through that.
Thank you. As the agenda indicates, there are 3 separate resolutions that I'd ask the council to take action on tonight, all of which relate to the financing for the First Avenue North Extension Project. And the documents that are related to these agenda items took up the bulk of your agenda packet this time. The resolutions themselves are not so long, but the 2 loan agreements that relate to these 2 loans are each about 40 pages long and include appendices of about 20 pages each. So they're quite extensive. They go into great detail, but they're very, very typical to what we have entered into in the past for our state revolving fund loans. The first one I would address has to do with the sanitary sewer improvements associated with this project. The resolution number 07-58 is authorizing SRF loan number 7, and under this loan we will borrow money from the state. It's $847,170 for the sanitary sewer improvements associated with this project. Repayment of this loan will come from sewer fees, sewer user charges, and will be approximately $58,000 per year for the 20-year term of the loan. We actually pay an interest rate of 3.25%, or effectively it's 3.25% that the sewer fund will pay. Under the state's incentive program, we actually borrow more funds. They lower the interest rate to 2.25%, and the difference is made up with incentive funds that they provide to the city for the watershed improvements. And so both of these loans have that lower interest rate of 2.25%. However, they calculate our payments at 3.25%, and that difference is put into the watershed project. These loans were authorized, or the loan applications were authorized by the City Council a little over a year ago on October 2nd. The Council authorized both of these loans. And the reason we're doing 2, the first one is for the sanitary sewer improvements, as I mentioned. The second loan, SRF loan number 8, is for the storm sewer improvements, and that one will be secured by and repaid with sales tax dollars, since we don't have user fees for our storm sewer system. So the first action I'm asking you to take is to approve resolution 0758, which is authorizing an SRF loan in the amount of $847,170 to pay for the sanitary sewer improvements associated with that. It further authorizes the mayor and me and the city attorney to execute the documents necessary to close this loan. Are there any questions at all on this SRF loan number 7?
If not, may I have a motion then for the approval of resolution 07-58? So moved by Alderman Heller. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Tracy?
Thank you. The second resolution that's associated with the sanitary sewer improvements is a resolution amending our sewer rate schedule. We're not changing the total sewer rates. The residents and businesses in town will not see a change in their sewer rates. However, we are specifying that a portion of our rates are earmarked and pledged for the repayment of this loan number 7. The way we're able to do that is that early next year we will make the final payment on one of the earliest SRF loans that the city took out back in 1991. And so the money that has previously been used to make payments on that loan will be redirected and for repayment of this loan number 7. So we're able to finance this project without any increase in sewer rates.
Very good. Is there a motion then to approve Resolution 07-60? So moved by Alderman Heller. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Alderwoman Arbogast. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Tracy?
Thank you. Now turning to the storm sewer improvements that are associated with the First Avenue extension. The loan documents and the resolutions are very, very similar. However, as I mentioned, the security for the loan and the source of repayment is different. We are not repaying this loan with sewer user charges because it is storm sewer improvement. There are no sewer user charges for the storm sewer, so we will be repaying that with our second penny sales tax or our capital improvement fund sales tax dollars. The storm sewer improvements provided for under this loan are $612,877. And so there's just the one resolution authorizing the mayor and me and the city attorney to execute the necessary documents and to pledge that sales tax revenue stream for the repayment of this loan.
For how many years?
20 years.
Okay.
This also has the watershed non-point source pollution rate incentive, so we're actually paying 2.25% on the loan, but we're borrowing a little bit more than what we need to make the storm sewer improvements, and the excess goes again to the watershed project.
Very good then. Is there a motion then for the approval of Resolution number 07-59? Motion by Alderman Heller, seconded by Alderman Garnos. Any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Tracy.
Incidentally, the repayments on this, the sales tax SRF loan will be about $42,000 a year, and that's less than 1% of our second penny sales tax revenues, just for your information.
Very good. Agenda item number 11 is the Police Department DUI and traffic safety initiatives for 2006-2007 overview report.
Good evening. I'd just like to introduce myself. I'm Corporal Rehorse with the Watertown Police Department, and this is Officer Kirk Ellis, again with the Police Department. Some things that we're in charge of here is I am the team leader with our traffic safety unit, and one of the things that I oversee is the grant that we receive for our additional traffic enforcement that we do in Watertown. And Officer Ellis here is also, he's the team leader for the alcohol enforcement program, and he oversees any grants that we receive for extra additional traffic enforcement with regards to alcohol. So I will turn this over right now to Officer Ellis to explain what we've been doing, kind of an overview of the last year that we've been doing with the alcohol enforcement program. Then I'll take over after that. Let's see.
The alcohol grant that we got kind of has a two-part process. We have saturation patrol and DUI checkpoints, both of which take place mainly on the weekend hours in the city of Watertown. These are the stats we're going to give you tonight are mainly from the last year as far as progress that we've made. From October 1st, 2006 through September 30th, 2007, we had 560.25 hours of DUI patrol. That's mainly Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, 5 hours each one of the nights. We made 614 vehicle stops with 63 people arrested for DUI. What it roughly equates to is 1 out of every 9.7 drivers stopped in Watertown was arrested for driving under the influence. Like I said, the second part is DUI checkpoints. We do these in cooperation with the South Dakota Highway Patrol and also the Cottington County Sheriff's Office. We had 11 checkpoints throughout the year. 22 hours. You usually run them for 2 hours at a time. Vehicles contacted, we contacted 832 vehicles. We made 28 arrests. 1 no tolerance DUI arrest, which is somebody under the age of 21 that is not to the level of adult DUI but has still been consuming alcohol and shows impairment. 1 out of every 29.7 vehicles produced an intoxicated driver. So roughly 1 out of every 30 vehicles that came through checkpoint, the driver was intoxicated. Now that number is a little misleading just because that's what driver was arrested. The number that comes through that has been drinking is far less than that. It's probably 1 out of every 10 that comes through has had something to drink. With the two combined, we took 91 intoxicated drivers off the road in Watertown between 2006 and 2007 just with this grant program. For a total for the department, we had 348 arrests for intoxicated drivers in Watertown between October 1st, 2006 and September 30th of 07.
The grant that I worked on was our Stay Alive After 5 grant, and that grant ran through, actually the funding came through from the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, and last year received a total of $13,104 that was put towards just traffic enforcement. And that money that we received allowed the Watertown Police Department to put an additional 412.25 hours of additional traffic enforcement in Watertown between October 1st, 2006 to September 30th, 2007. And a result of those extra enforcement hours that we did, we had 783 total vehicle stops. We issued 280 citations, and that's the ones that have a fine associated with them. And then we had 510 warnings, which is just a written warning for a traffic stop. When we look at the total amount of citations and warnings that were issued within Watertown between that time frame from October 06 to September of 07, the police department issued a total of 2,577 citations and 3,753 warnings. Breaking down the actual citations, I listed some of the ones that we've seen the most of. For example, about 1,100 speeding citations that were issued, 205 stop signs or stop light citations, and so on down the line there. 233 seatbelt citations, no insurance, 156 no valid driver's licenses, and like Officer Ellis said, 348 DWI arrests and 118 open containers in a motor vehicle. At the end of last year, and actually before the end of our last enforcement area there, Sergeant McPeak had requested at the Office of Highway Safety to renew our grants on our DUI and traffic enforcement areas. The new grant will cover additional enforcement efforts from October 2007 to September of 2008. Sergeant McPeak had put in for $16,800 for alcohol enforcement and $13,200 for additional traffic enforcement. And the Department of Public Safety, the Office of Highway Safety, awarded the police department $30,000 for that time frame from 2007 to 2008 for those two particular traffic enforcement programs for DUI and the traffic. What I'm the team leader of is our traffic safety unit, and what our ultimate goal is to utilize all our resources that we have to help make the roadways safer in Watertown. And the three main ways that we do that are through education, and that's doing media releases, press releases, putting on presentations, and basically making the public aware of traffic safety. The other thing that we do is enforcement, and that's simply what we're doing is traffic enforcement out there. And the last one is engineering. That's attempting to change the roadway design to help make it safer. And we review all the crashes that happen throughout the year to make sure we can concentrate our efforts there. With this grant, the Traffic Safety Unit will be able to more effectively target our problem areas in our community. And what we do is we look at whether it's a concentration of vehicle crashes or driving complaints or just citations that officers have been issuing. We take those areas and we target them to help reduce crashes and things of that nature in the area there. So with this grant, we're going to be able to more effectively target those areas by having this money available. And how we do that is we're going to run it the same as we did last year. We're going to take peak hours throughout the time of the day and different days of the week where we have a lot of problems. We're going to be able to provide about 10 hours of additional traffic enforcement in those areas per week. And what that's going to amount to is about right around 3 hours for 3 days a week. So there'll be 3 different shifts throughout the week where an officer will be out for 3 hours each day, and that's about 10 hours a week. Since we've been receiving this grant money, as I've looked at the percent of crashes that we have and the severity and amount of damage and injuries and things of that nature, we've seen anywhere from about a 5% to 15% decrease in the amount of crashes that are happening in our community. So it's easy to say that with this grant money, we've seen an association between receiving the grant money and crashes in our community decreasing. So, and that's all we have as far as the PowerPoint presentation. Are there any questions? Or? Yes.
Back where on the total department traffic, one of the violations, no insurance 352, is there any follow-up on these people getting insurance?
What happens there is some of those citations could be that they have insurance, but they just don't have proof of insurance with them, whether that's at a traffic crash or just on a vehicle stop. What happens is someone's issued a citation for no insurance, and then they have a court date, and before that court date, they're allowed to bring proof of insurance up to the courthouse. So I'm unsure of the percent, but a percent of those could be people that actually have insurance, just didn't have it with them at that time. And if someone is found guilty of driving without insurance, then usually the court as a punishment will revoke their driving privileges or suspend their driving privileges. And that would be, in a sense, the follow-up that's done there, so then they take them off the road.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I have one other question. Do you do any comparisons with other cities and the number of stops and how many DUIs we have in that? Are we high, low, anything like that?
The only thing I've compared it to is typically with South Dakota Highway Patrol. We're kind of right in line with it. We're kind of right in line with what they typically see for what they make for arrests as well. We're not any higher, but we're certainly not any lower. In fact, we might be a little bit on the high end. Some of that is because, I mean, we have taken almost 100 extra drivers off the road because of the grant, so it's going to make our statistics a little higher, which is great because you're taking those people up off the roadway. But we're certainly not any higher, but we certainly have a ways to go.
Okay.
And I know I spoke with Officer Ellis here earlier tonight, and when he had said that 1 out of every 9.7 drivers stopped was driving under the influence, that number is actually, we have to stop more cars now than we did the previous year to find a person that's arrested for DWI. So that's good that it takes more vehicles for us to stop, because that means that there's less people out there drinking and driving, hopefully. So that's a good sign that we've seen.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you, officers. Moving on to agenda item number 12 is the renewal of the Employee Flexible Benefits Plan for 2008. I believe Shelley was going to give us a report on that. Tracy, we'll need council action then after we're through, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening. You received in your packets the Flexible Benefit Plan renewal for 2008. And basically, it's renewing the existing plan that we have with Wellmark, and they are also our healthcare providers, so it kind of makes a good balance. I'll just highlight the fee structures. That's on page 9 if you're looking at the documentation. And then if you have any questions, I'll try to answer those. The first fee that they charge us is based on the percentage level of the participants. And if you look, it's anywhere from $4.40 to $5 per participant per month. Last year, we had 35% participation, and so we're going to go on the $4.55 per member per month charge. We also pay once per year versus monthly, and we get a 5% discount for that. So that saves a couple $100. The other fee is just the basic administration fee that Wellmark charges to administer the benefit plan for us. We pay the lesser of the two fees. If you look, they list two fees. We pay the $1,634 fee. And basically, they don't send us renewal packets. When we do our yearly renewals, we do those up ourselves, and so that saves the city some money. The other change that we will have, if you look on page 4, it'll list the pre-tax benefits that the city, or that this plan will provide for the city. In 2008, we're going to add a dental insurance plan. It's 100% of the premiums being paid by the employee, but they will be able to pre-tax that through this plan, so we'll add that to the list. And that's basically the only changes that we have for this coming year. Does anybody have any questions?
If no questions, then could we have a motion for the approval of the renewal of Employee Flexible Benefits Plan for 2008?
So moved.
So moved by Alderwoman Arbogast. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Gizelbeck. Any questions or discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Shelley. Agenda item number 13 is the cancellation of outstanding checks and authorization to remit the funds to the state treasurer. Tracy.
Thank you. In your agenda packet, you have a list of 4 checks that were issued by the city, 2 of them in 2004, 2 of them in 2005, that have not cleared the city's bank account. And under state law, we're required to treat that as abandoned property. And so we require or ask the council tonight to declare these checks as, or I should say, ask that the council write off these checks. The balance of $148.89 will then be remitted to the South Dakota State Treasurer and will be held in trust by the State Unclaimed Property Division, and they will pursue their efforts to try to find the rightful owners of these dollars. I'm sure they'll do a
Is there a
diligent
motion then
effort.
to that effect, please? So moved by Alderman Meisenheimer. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderwoman Arbogast. Any questions or discussion?
It just seems funny to go through all that. I mean, we certainly know where Kentucky Fried Chicken is. For $37, did they just not want their $37?
And that,
Lost their check or?
that involves, and we do go to considerable lengths to try to contact these folks. And oftentimes when you see for example, Kentucky Fried Chicken, the checks that we've issued are to their corporate offices somewhere in Kentucky, most likely, I guess, in this case. But sometimes when you're dealing with out-of-state folks, it's a little more difficult communicating. But we do make efforts to contact each one of these, and typically when the list starts, it's much longer than this. So we do offer them every opportunity to recoup their money, and if they can't find it, and in some cases the people will be honest and say they got the money, they cashed it, and it just never came through the city's bank account. So that has occurred too.
Very good then. Any other questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Tracy. Agenda item number 14 is the authorization for additional work on the Uptown Streetscape renovation project. And Herb?
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a couple of items in your packet. Is the proposal to remove and replace concrete on Kemp Corner so that both the electrical and some irrigation could be tied into the existing project for an increase of $11,922. Also included was an extension of contract until November 2nd to take care of all the additional work. Bill Riefenberger from Urban Renewal is here to provide some additional explanation.
What, this last, we got everything, I believe, now, don't we, Herb? This should be the last that we're aware of any further changes, and we are gonna make it in budget. We had to go back on Kemp on both Broadway, all 4 corners, and on second over, excuse me, on all 4 corners to tie into the power for the street lights. Why we find that out after we get there, I don't know. I wasn't privy to the first time, but I guess we should have probably known that, and had the bid would have been for a higher price, knowing that they would have had to do the work anyway. But obviously they had to go back to where they could connect to the power to put the street lights, which meant cut up some of the red concrete that was put in the first time, and that's what we replaced. Small amount of that cost, as long as we had that open. We extended the water system back that way too. Seemed like it was appropriate to do that. But anyway, where we're at right now, we are going to make it in budget. Had it not rained today, I think by tomorrow, just about all the concrete work would have been done. We're going to be off now. They wouldn't need much of an extension really, but they asked till the end of this month. Otherwise, I think everything is going well. A few comments I'd like to make though too is I know that the merchants uptown appreciate what's been done, because quite honestly, of all the things that I've had to go back and forth and work with people on, I can't say that I've had anybody that has complained to me about anything. They've had a few people that have asked questions, and why this here, why that there. After that was shown to them, and it just dropped. I never heard any more about it. Nobody complained about the work being done. Grace did a great job of working with people. I think they should be commended. They had events going on, and they tried to keep the traffic, the streets open as much as possible, and nobody gave me any complaints on that. Both Dave Peterson and Herb Bloomquist were right on things when we needed to deal with them. We got them decided right away and got them taken care of. And we did have 2 toward the end here when monies were running out. We had 2 issues. One at Young's Prime Time. We couldn't avoid it, cutting the concrete. He did have some underwater or sidewalk heating that can't be used now because we had to cut through there. And a few discussions with him, and he says, well, he gained some parking spots. He gave up his heated sidewalk for some parking spots. So he was happy with that. And the big one, which the council had already approved some a little bit for, but was with First Premier Bank. And they had about an additional $20,000 worth of work that needed to be done because of basement going all the way out on the sidewalk, and they worked with us real well. We had, like I said, everybody worked with us real well and wanted to see this progress, and I'm really satisfied with how things went. So, with that, any questions about the the additional bill? That's what I'm here for.
Mayor, I got
Yes.
One additional comment. At your desktop is one additional RFP for $567. This did not go to Public Works. I received it last Friday, but rather than delay for this amount of money, I thought I'd just bring it to us tonight for some sidewalk work to get slope for sidewalk drainage in front of Jeff's Vacuum and Bratton and Law. Again, for $567. Just a quick budget recap. Like Bill said, we're going to come in, unless there's a major catastrophe here in the next couple of weeks, under budget. We'll have approximately $4,400 left from what was originally budgeted. And so with that, I'd just ask for your request a motion to approve this additional work in front of you for a total of $12,489.
Is there a motion then to that effect, please, from the council? So moved by Alderman Solberg, seconded by Alderman Garnis. Any further questions or discussion?
Yes. Yes. But, Bill, I think we owe you a real debt of gratitude for spearheading this project. It's a fantastic project and one other communities.
Well, like with most things, I mean, there's a lot of satisfaction in the work too, and I'm just glad that things went as well as they did. I would feel much worse to be up here and telling you there was major problems, but we made it through fine. So, okay.
No, really, Bill, I just want to thank you so much. I mean, just haven't really heard much of anything other than positive comments, and I just want to thank you very much for what you did. So, all in favor then say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Agenda item number 15 is the change order number 5 to the contract with the Jans Corporation for the library project. Mike.
And I am happy to tell you that this should be the last change order. Well, the construction's done, Tuffy, so this is a change order. It's basically a wrap-up of a number of things that have been done. I'm not going to go through all of these. I will point out number 2 there for $45,000. That's the steel issue that Stanton and Tracy and Dave Weigel and myself have been working with the architect and the Jans Corporation for a number of months on coming up with a price on. The rest of those, with the exception of the last 3, all of the work is done. So I would anticipate that if you approve the change order, that we won't pay them for those last 3 until they get through with the work.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve change order number 5 with the Jans Corporation for the library project? So moved by Alderman Garnos. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Alderman Meisenheimer. Any questions or discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 17 is the open, and I believe that, nope. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, Mike. Number 16, consideration of bids received for the
Good
street
evening.
department, 2 new dump trucks with boxes. Sorry, Mike.
Mayor and members of the council. We had a bid letting for 2 end dump trucks with boxes and accessories for the street department on August 5th of '07. Specifications and bid forms were mailed to 9 chassis bidders, including Sharp and Shoe Guards locally, and 3 box and hoist bidders. I only had to send out 1 addendum for a height clarification. Did that on 9/27 and received receipt of that or verification by all the bidders. These trucks are to replace 2 1996 International trucks at the street department. 1 1996 truck has already been transferred to the airport is planned in the capital improvement program. One 1996 truck will be replacing a 1987 dump truck that is being used at the landfill. That truck is 20 years old. That's being traded. In my truck capital improvement fund, I had $217,000 to replace 3 trucks this year. We did not accumulate enough funds to replace the 3rd truck. And I kind of figured that would happen. Is the reason I only bid 2 of the same kind. The 3rd truck is going to be somewhat more expensive than this, just because of the things with it. So my target dollars needed was $150,000. I thought that would be sufficient to cover all 3 trucks this year. However, the tandem truck will be addressed next year. There is sufficient funds from the $217,000 to cover the 2 trucks needed this year of $162,459.08. I checked the current state bid out there, and it does not address towing and warranty work, which was real important to me. They have their own regional repairs out on contract. So our truck price with a 5-year warranty was $64,400 each. State bid price with a 1-year warranty was $63,900. And then the boxes were varied in there. At any rate, we got for $800 more, 4 more years of warranty, complete and towing, so, and that'll pay for itself real nicely. Our price was competitive with the state bid, and I would recommend the award for 2 truck bids to Great Plains International and Northern Truck Equipment for $162,459.08. If you have any particulars on that box from Northern Truck Equipment, I see Dean Whartonby is here in the crowd, so he came just in case there would be any questions.
Very good. Is there a motion then for the approval of the Northern Truck Equipment and Great Plains International bids for the 2 new dump trucks? So moved by Alderman Solberg. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Wilkins. Any further questions or discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Next, item number 17 is the open. Chief Vitek, you wish to make an announcement.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to invite you and the folks that are listening tonight. The fire department and the police department are having an open house this week. We started it today. It's every afternoon this week from 1 until 5. If you'd like to come and tour the fire department or the police department. And also, Mayor, the kids have been building the haunted house, which will be October the 26th from 7 till 11. Several city departments, to include those 2 gentlemen sitting right over there, our city attorney and our finance director, will be in costume that night. And we certainly hope that everybody comes out to have a good time. We'll be giving away a lot of free candy and some Halloween bags. And for those children who are a little scared to go downstairs to the haunted house, the finance department is gracious this year, and we'll be having Disney characters upstairs in finance. So we hope everybody comes out and has a good time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Vitek. Any other items to come before the open? If not, item number 18 is the old business. I don't believe there's any old business to take care of. Item number 19 is new business. Is there any new business to come before the council? Agenda item number 20 is liaison member reports. Are there any reports that anyone would like to make?
Safety Committee meeting tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
One other thing, excuse me, Mayor, there will be no Finance Committee meeting tomorrow afternoon. You get the day off.
Can you believe we had nothing on the agenda? Nothing. We will need to go to executive session for a brief time. There will be no council action taken. It's in regards to contractual arrangements. If I may have a motion to do that, please?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Giselbeck. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Alderwoman Arbogast. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll give you a call tomorrow.